Hi, Sabrina Justison from SevenSistersHomeschool.com. Now we're talking about step 3 in the writing process, and this is the support. The first 2 steps in our process, ideas and the plan, required no pen and no paper. And now we're going to get pen and paper, but there's no need to be afraid. We are just taking notes. In fact, we're going to use scrap paper. We're not even going to use a real notebook. We're just going to take flyers and use the back of them. It sounds stupid, but it's important. For a student who feels overwhelmed or paralyzed, looking at a blank sheet of paper and knowing that he has a writing assignment hanging over his head, telling him, just jot notes on a piece of scrap paper that we're going to throw away, takes away that fear of writing something less than perfect. And there's no way it could be perfect. It's too early in the process. The stage that we're going to deal with support is finding the things that will support the writing piece. Just like a bridge has something that holds it up from below and that keeps the pieces from slipping and falling apart, a piece of writing has to have support in place to hold it up and hold all the pieces together. If a civil engineer is building a bridge, the first thing I want him to do is not pick out the paint color. I want him to do the math that I'm incapable of doing, and I want him to figure out how much weight does this bridge need to support, and how deep does the foundation have to go in order for that to happen, and all of that stuff that happens behind the scenes that will support the bridge once I drive over it. If you try to go back and add the support in after, it's not your best bet. And any teacher who looks at a piece of writing that has very little support and says, this is too fluffy, you need to put something in there that will support it, has given a student a really tough assignment. Going back into a piece of writing and adding support after the fact is very difficult. It's much better to think about the support before you've actually begun writing. Okay, so here's an example. If I choose to write a descriptive piece about the perennial garden that's in my front yard, the first thing that I need to do in finding support is to just jot down in brainstorm, flow, no particular plan, just random, the things about the perennial garden that I've noticed. And there are oodles of them. There are butterflies that come to certain flowers in the garden, and I love butterflies. There are bumblebees that choose other plants in the garden. There's the fact that my husband is the one who planted this garden, and he's the one who adds to it every year and who enjoys taking good care of it. Oh, which makes me think about the fact that my mother-in-law also loves gardening, and she's who put that love of flowers in my husband, and I've seen them work in the garden together, and that's a nice thought. There's the fact that there's a lot of color out there, huge variety of colors. Ooh, and the smells. Wonderful smells. Oh, there are things that bloom certain times of the year, so the seasonal idea, and some things die off just as something else becomes beautiful. Okay, that's good enough. That's a good start. Once I have several things jotted on my scrap paper, and it's just jotting notes on scrap paper, now I'm ready to look over it and say, well, what voice did I choose for this piece of writing? What was my plan? That was step 2. And for this one, I'm going to choose poignant. And if I'm going for a poignant feel, if I look at the different things on this list, they're all accurate observations of my garden, but some of them support a poignant tone or voice in this piece of writing. The fact that my husband planted it, so that'll get circled. The fact that my mother-in-law raised him to love plants. The smells. Smell evokes memories, and it evokes very strong emotions sometimes, so that's a poignant one. The seasonal, the element that some things are dying as other things are coming to life. That's poignant. These 4 items from my list really lend themselves to supporting a poignant piece of descriptive writing about a perennial garden. Do you see how I filtered different things that could have been used as support? Butterflies, bumblebees, color, those are all legitimate things that could be included. And if I were writing a different type of piece, I would choose those pieces for support. But because what I've already decided in step 2 is to go for a poignant feel, it makes it easy to just circle my best pieces of support and know that my bridge is going to be built well and it's going to stand up to all the weight that it has to bear. Step 3, support.